Hola, hola, hola. How are you guys doing? Welcome back. We had our little half a day trial today, kind of, not really, somewhat. Uh, what is it called? Voir dire, voir dire. Anyway, chaos, and there was somebody else that told me about the hearing that came out with the father of an alleged killer. We covered this story back. It's been months. Let me see here. This was I think it was December. Yes, December 23rd. Mm-hmm. And so the alleged killer is this 19-year-old Christopher Preciado. This was like really a crazy story. We covered this back then because there was this, I think it was Matthew Guerrera and Savanah Soto, which was like this pregnant woman. She was, I think, like 19 or something. Her and the boyfriend went to go do this alleged drug deal. But at first, all we knew is that like they went missing. She had this appointment. She was supposed to go in labor, and she was supposed to be induced the day she was killed. It says here December 22nd. And it was like this drug deal gone bad or whatever. And so she was missing. Everybody's freaking out. All of us were super concerned. And then they released a video. And it was this crazy video. I'm sure you guys remember, where you see two people getting out of a vehicle. Let's see if I can find that police cam. I should have had it loaded up. And everybody was trying to figure out, like, what is this? Who is this? Let me show you guys.
This AI tool.
Memory lane. And the thing that stuck out remarkably is the guy that got out of the car. First of all, it was two people. I was like, what? What's going on here? It's two people. Big Papa, right? Big Papa. Two people working together. I believe they might have been dead in the vehicle at this time. I really should have zoomed this in. But this guy, the people were pointing out like the big hanging belly and what's going on and who is that and somebody else. It was a mess. And then the bodies were eventually found in an apartment nearby, an apartment complex near the medical center. And drug deal gone bad. By the way, they are charging the son with the murder of the baby as well, I believe. Counts as a person in Texas. And so he's been charged with murder charges. And then the parents, the mother and the stepmom, okay, his parents are facing charges of abuse of corpse and concealment and altering a corpse after the two reportedly helped their son move Soto and Guerrera's body after the death. All right? Loving parents. The stepmother's bill was reduced to 1.1 million, from 1.1 million to 600,000, and Ramon Preciado, the father, was brought down from 600,000 to 450,000. They're all still locked up. And then the child, or 19-year-old, however old, I forgot how old this kid was, the son, his bond was set over $1 million. So that's just a little like mini recap of the mess that's going on. I don't know when it's actually going to trial. And the last time we were live, and I guess he got a fresh haircut now. The last time we were live, he was kind of complaining about the treatment of the jail and saying he has medical conditions, and it was denied. And now he's back here again to talk about, I guess, the treatment and his health. And let's check it out.
Okay, have them come up here and take the stand.
There he is. Man of the hour.
Mr. Preciado, can you please your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can put your hand down. Make sure to speak up, speak slowly and into the microphone, making sure not to speak over either attorneys during the questioning. The court reporter can only take down one person speaking at a time. And with that, defense, your witness.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Preciado, do you mind if I call you Ramon?
No, sir.
Ramon, how long have you been in custody now?
Around 6 months.
And
He looks better than when he first went in there. All like fresh. Maybe he's using some type of facial care cream, Neutrogena, and whatever. Fresh haircut, losing weight.
you've had some health problems while you've been in custody, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Including last month in May, you were hospitalized for 5 or 6 days, is that correct?
Yes, sir. My heart was give out and kidneys due to over medication and wrong medication.
That's what he was complaining a lot about last time, like the medication he's getting. It would be crazy if he died. I don't wish death on anybody. It would be crazy if they're really not lining up his medication how it's supposed to be.
So at the jail, they were giving you the wrong medication and you were over medicated?
That's correct, sir.
Do you recall the names of those medications that they gave you?
The sergeant mixed with something else. I don't remember right off now.
And to get taken from the jail to the hospital means that you must have been exhibiting some pretty severe symptoms.
My potassium was 2.5, 2.6. So it's pretty serious. It makes your EKG, it throws your heart off rhythm. So it makes your beats way off. So it makes the EKG kind of, you can see your heart's going to explode type.
Was that a very scary situation for you?
More than you know.
Now, that you got out of the hospital, I think, on May 5th and came back to the jail. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It hasn't been smooth sailing since then, has it?
They're kind of experimenting with the medication again. She kind of had it a little bit there and then it started getting off whack again.
How
I
do
could
you
always
feel? How do you
still
feel?
shaky with them. She got me up to 100 milligrams, and she said the doctor gave me for 50, she's up to 100.
Who is she?
The nurse practitioner.
So it has you at 100 milligrams of losartan.
When I got out of the hospital, I was looking at 50. She got me at 100. So, and then she added losartan, 5 milligrams. So she added an extra pill on top of what I'm taking already.
So the nurse practitioner is giving you 100 milligrams when in reality the doctor at the hospital, an actual medical doctor, recommended 50.
And I was doing fine with the 50, no shakes, no nothing, I was doing all right.
So let's talk about how you feel right now. You seem a little weak. Are you shaking? And it's not just from nerves, right?
It's always the nerves, but it's not just the nerves.
You seem a little weak today.
Not myself.
He honestly looks better to me than the first time that I saw him. I mean, I could be wrong. His skin is glistening. There's like a reflection oil. Like, look, his treatment's been almost like, what's that name? The woman's name? The woman that supported her man after killing a child and still loves him to this day and had conceived a baby while the dead of the child was up in the ceiling being hit in the body parts and all this stuff. Can't think of her name. Hold on,
You know what I do for a living, I have a lot of strength in my hands. But not lately.
Because of the medications, you think?
It's one of the good reasons, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Now, more recently, just in the last week, you got bitten by a spider or something?
Oh, God.
Yes, got a bit.
Oh,
nasty one. Medical attention. I made 3, 4, pleaded with them. I even told the guards and a couple of guards tried to help me, but nothing ever happened. Finally went to the pharmacist, that's kind of nice to me. She did all she could. She called down there, made a big stink about it. Finally, they caught me on Sunday afternoon.
So you were bitten by this spider a week ago on Sunday, meaning on the
Montgomery.
9th probably,
Yes, sir.
and you didn't receive treatment until yesterday, the 16th.
I got put in the sick call right away because we have family in the medical industry, and I know what a bite looks like right away. So it went from a bug bite to an infection to a staph infection. So she won't even cut it open.
Right.
You could tell, but I could tell you need to be busted open. I mean,
Ramon, let me stop you for a minute. You said that it's been diagnosed as a staph infection now?
So she told me,
Ooh.
I lived right by vision. Oh, that's a staph infection. I can tell you for a fact now.
And did they put you on any medication?
She gave me antibiotics and some kind of painkiller or something.
And that was yesterday after a week of this bite getting worse and festering?
That's correct. I didn't get my medication until last night. 11 or something.
Ramon, we've had another bond reduction hearing on you a few months ago. Do you remember that? When we came to court, trying to get your bond reduced, and the bond was cut down a little bit. In the meantime,
Trying to get up.
has anything changed in your family dynamic in terms of the amount of money that you have available to get you out of jail? Have you won the lottery?
No, sir.
Did the Publishers Clearinghouse come in finally?
Not even close.
All right, so your financial position is actually probably even more dire than it was a few months ago, is that correct?
I'm the one that makes the money, so
And-
no me, no money.
And your wife is locked up, and your son is locked up?
My whole family, they're there.
So nothing has changed with regard to your financial situation that would suddenly allow you to be able to make these bonds that total several $100,000, is that correct?
That's correct. It's got worse.
Ramon, do you have a physician on the outside,
Dr. Wynn.
Dr. Wynn? And he's been your physician for some time, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you concerned with the continuing health struggles that you're having at the jail?
I'm very concerned. I mean, having your heart offbeat like that, I mean, if anybody knows anything about medical, they're scared, you know, it's pretty bad, offbeat, EKG going crazy, I mean, very scary stuff. You know, our kidneys not working like they should. You know, it's very frightening stuff, even for a strong guy, big guy, I mean.
Now, does it also concern you that when you went to the hospital last month, they gave you a prescription at a certain milligrams and levels and things, and now a nurse practitioner has doubled it?
Definitely, and I told her I can't take metformin. She goes, well, he gave it to you. She goes, I said, well, he was giving me insulin. He just said that you said that metformin, but I said I cannot take that because I've had previous issues with that.
And let's remind the judge about the pre-existing medical conditions you had before you were arrested. What diagnoses did you have at that point?
I was diabetic and high blood pressure. Cholesterol's always been high.
And were you already being treated for those conditions?
Listen, I was doing good. Overweight, but good. I lost so much weight now, I don't know what's going on.
Oh. Probably the jail for it
And
is.
again, no one in your family or in your close friends or anything is able to make these bonds at this time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Would someone in the outside be able to make a bond if, say, the $350,000 one went down to $40,000 or $50,000?
I think so, yes, sir.
And the $100,000 bond, if it went down to, say, $10,000, do you think someone could
Yes,
get you
sir.
out? Is that what you're asking the judge to do?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay. I'm ready for the cross. This is so like, I don't know if I've really seen it like this for bond hearings. Normally, I'm not an expert, but just my experience. It's normally like kind of short, blah, blah, blah. I want this, I want that. It's not happening. Bye. Boom. We never see you again. This shit's like, it's a 55-minute video. There's like cross, what? It's like a trial or something. A trial within a trial. Mini trial.
Mr. Preciado,
Yes, sir.
just to be clear, when were you hospitalized at the hospital?
I don't have the dates in front of me. It was not even a month ago.
So would it surprise you to know the records reflect it was May 1st, the first week of May?
It was a week, like I said, I can tell you.
And what was it that caused them to take you to the hospital from the jail?
Potassium, 2.6, 2.5.
And,
Overall, over a 2-week period, which is very dangerous, as you would know.
and so prior to that, you'd been having some issues with like cold symptoms?
Prior to that, I was sick for a whole month, and again, no medical treatment. I didn't even get an aspirin. Finally, they gave me something, and I told them I can't be taking Tylenol like that. As it is, I can't take no pills at all. I don't like pills in my system, unless I have to.
But when you say you were sick for a month, that you were dealing with like cold-like symptoms?
Flu-like symptoms, yes, sir.
What kind of symptoms were you getting?
Headaches, fever, coughing,
You had a runny nose?
runny nose, congestion.
And at some point they treated you with Tylenol.
That's correct.
But you didn't believe that was correct?
No, sir. You
At some point, they did what?
And at some point they treated you with Tylenol.
that's correct.
But you didn't believe that was correct?
No, that's correct.
And at some point they treated you with Tylenol.
That's correct.
But you didn't believe that was correct?
No, sir. I didn't just have a headache. There was other things going on. You know what I mean? And when you're taking other medicine, you shouldn't take Tylenol. It damages your liver, especially if you're already on blood pressure. Sorry, what are you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Well, if you're taking other medication,
Oh, they gave him Tylenol. Okay, is it Tylenol?
they've told me before not to take Tylenol. If you're
Oh, so they gave him something, but I guess
taking other stuff with it, especially blood pressure and, sugar medicine, whatever you're taking with it. And this nurse practitioner gave me a list of medicines that I wasn't sure what I was taking. So that made me even more nervous. I think it would make you nervous too if you're taking a bunch of medicine. You seem like you're a lot sharper than I am. I'm sure you probably would know more than I would, but I don't have that privilege of knowing exactly what she had. She didn't write it down for me. But I am writing it down now.
So when you're going to the medical unit over at the jail, that is a unit that is operated by the University Health System.
Yes, sir, it is.
And at some point you were seen there due to low potassium. Is that what you testified earlier?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how did you present yourself how did you end up in the medical unit for that?
How did I end up?
How did they end up taking you down to the medical
I
unit for that?
pleaded with the ladies to give me blood work because I was feeling weird. I was going to pass out. Couldn't even see right. I had several falls. I kept telling her something's going on. And finally I told her, hey, I got people in the medical field. I'm going to, they know people. They're going to start calling around. They're going to find out that you're not helping me. You have to do some kind of blood work. You can't just look at a car and say, oh, engine's gone. No, you got to check the oil. Excuse me?
Did they do the blood work?
I begged her, but yes, she finally did the blood work and she saw what it was, and she rushed me down to get an EKG as soon as that happened.
So when your blood work came back that you had low potassium, did the jail attempt to treat that in the medical unit?
She attempted to give me some pills yesterday. She gave me potassium or something and again increased my medication.
So they attempted to address the issue with low potassium by giving you supplemental potassium.
I would say that was true. Yes, sir.
And how long did you take the supplemental potassium before you went to the main university hospital?
She did blood work like 7 to 9 times over a 2-day period, a 3-day period. She had me there from the morning to the afternoon just taking blood.
What period was that? I'm sorry.
I don't know, from 2 to 3 days.
Okay, they took your blood 7 to 9 times in a 2 to 3
Yes, sir, they did. Yes, sir, they did. I even had the marks to show you. And then she told me that potassium's still dropping. That it feels like it's not having an effect. She wasn't going to give me an EKG now, but I was going to give me an EKG.
And at that point, is that when you were transferred over to the main university hospital?
I think that afternoon I was. After she did blood work one more time.
Because that sounds like the jail medical unit was pretty attentive to what was going on with you at that point. Would that be a fair assessment?
Oh, I didn't say she wasn't. She was looking out for me then, but she was already in a panic. It's like you set the house on fire, but now she's panicking. Of course, because she had me laying there in a stretcher.
Because they took your blood multiple times, up to 9 times in a 3-day period to monitor that potassium.
Yes, sir, and I gave her props for that. She did.
And then once you were over at university, you did some tests while you were there, correct?
That's correct.
Did you do an EKG while you were over at the university hospital?
At the hospital, at the medical center? Yes, sir.
Do you remember what the results were from that?
No, so they don't give me the results.
The doctor didn't talk to you about it?
They'll talk to me, but they don't give you a lot of results. Again, I don't know what kind of contract you have with them. They don't give me a lot of information, just that we're gonna do this next, we're gonna do this next, okay. But most likely it's something like, you're fine for now.
And when I say they take you over to the main hospital at university, that is not at the jail, correct?
They do.
Okay, it's over in the medical center, and it's in the main university hospital complex.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so the doctors that you're dealing with over there are the same doctors that regular people were walking off the street dealing with at university.
It's not my doctor, but yes, it is the same doctors you would deal with.
And your doctor, Dr. Nguyen, does work for University Hospital, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Does he work over there in that same complex?
I'm sure he works in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And those doctors that were treating you over there at the hospital, they have the ability to consult with him and to communicate with him about you as well, right?
I sure hope so.
And so after your EKG, you didn't remember, no doctor gave you specific results of the EKG?
Well, they gave me like 7 of them, so I didn't really keep track, after that.
What, in your mind, what was the result of your EKG, if you know?
I was a little confused, because they wanted to send me for a stress test, and they would give me a sonar on my heart and my kidneys. It's kind of frightening stuff. When somebody, the doctor walks in and tells you, oh, we need to do a sonogram of your heart now. We need to do a stress test. This makes serious, you could actually walk out of here.
Well,
It's scary stuff, and then they tell you the same thing about your kidneys, due to some medication. It just, you see the same thing happen over and over again, and it's happening to me again right now. She's up to 100 as sergeant. And I'm not saying it's your fault. It is what it is. She's learning. I give her that. But man, I hate that she's learning on me. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's real scary stuff.
I know, sir. My question to you was, what was the result of your EKG?
Which one?
The one that you had over at the main hospital.
They gave me about 7 of them.
Okay, but what did they tell you about the results of the EKG?
I just told you, sir. They told me I need a heart test. Stress test and a sonogram of my heart, like you would do on a pregnant woman, but for the heart. And that's the first one they rushed over to do.
So, would it surprise you to know that according to your medical records, the result of your EKG that you had over there at the hospital was overall that things were normal?
Thank God.
That wouldn't surprise you.
I didn't say it would surprise me. I'm just thank God that I'm okay. I thought maybe she was going to kill me.
I mean,
I hear what you're telling me, and I understand what you're telling me, and I'm glad to hear it. But that's neither here nor there. If somebody's giving you a medication that's bad for you, it's going to keep happening to you over and over again. It doesn't matter if the battery's good now. If you keep running the car the way it is going to run out of juice. So you're going to kill the battery. You know what I mean?
So it wouldn't surprise you to know that your EKG results indicated that your right atrium was normal in size. Did that surprise you?
I had not heard of it.
Have you heard, did they tell you that your right ventricle was normal in size?
He said that he found everything on the stress test to be good.
Okay. Well, I haven't gotten to the stress test yet, so I'm just talking about the EKG.
I didn't really, to tell you, they didn't really go over to that with me too much. They don't go over little stuff like that for me. They want the big results.
So it's not surprising to you that these things they look for are all normal in size and that your systolic function was normal as well.
I'm just happy to hear it.
So then you did the stress test, and can you tell us what that entailed? Medication,
computer, to run medication to my veins, to see where I was. At the same time, they run an EKG through the system to let me know exactly where my heart is. If it's pumping the way it should. They put you in a mode, like if you're exercising, like you were going, like if you're out of breath.
All right, so they kind of let you do some exercise and see how your heart reacts to that.
It's a chemical based,
Yeah.
same effect.
They inject a chemical in so they can monitor that on the screen.
Well, again, the guard didn't give me my medication the last 2 days, so when I went, my blood pressure was high. So when I explained that to him, he said, well, you gotta go get it from him. I said, well, I can't give me if he doesn't have it. Only the pharmacy will give it to you. And if he doesn't call me, there's no way of me knowing.
So do you after doing the stress test, how did that go for you?
The stress test?
Did you react to it in any adverse way?
It felt like your whole body's like kind of like lifting. Like kind of pushing out. Weird feeling, never felt that before. Just, I don't know, I just never had one done on thing.
But they were monitoring you during that whole time, during that test, right?
Yeah, a little shaky though.
You didn't pass out or anything?
Just really shaky when my knees were buckling when I stood up. Like I said, anybody would. I'm not used to a test like that.
Did you have any chest pain while you were doing that test?
It wasn't no chest thing. I just was when I went like that. She got worried.
So when you were done with it, did they at some point go over the results of the stress test with you?
No,
Okay. No doctor came in and talked to you and told you what happened?
no.
So I guess I'll go over it with you. Would you be surprised to know that the 5 conclusions that were reached with the stress test were, number 1, that your stress was judged to be adequate?
Am I surprised? Is that what you said?
I mean, given what you went through with the stress test, are you surprised to see that that's what...
I'm relieved I'm here. If you really want to know, I'm just happy I'm here. I thought I was going to make it out of that hospital.
But does that surprise you to hear that that was the conclusion?
I'm surprised I'm here.
Does it surprise you to know that the resting hypertension was with normal blood pressure in response to the stress test?
The nurse practitioner kind of went over it. Now she
Bruh. He did the stress test, and he did all right in the stress test, and they just said his blood pressure was fine too, I guess?
With normal blood pressure in response to the stress test?
The nurse practitioner kind of went over it. Now she kind of went over it. If that's what you're asking me. She kind of went over it. She didn't give me the results. She just said,
Well, okay, but I'm just asking you, I'm going over it with your records and just asking if that surprises you that they concluded that.
when you define surprises me, what do you mean surprises me? What are you trying to tell me?
Well, do you find issue with this, what they've concluded in this, with these stress test results?
I don't have an issue with the test. If that's what the test says, I'm happy. I'm more than happy. I'm thanking God every day that I'm here.
Does it surprise you to know that they noted that you had a chest pain during that stress test?
No, I didn't have chest pains.
That surprised you to know that they concluded you had a normal resting EKG?
Am I surprised?
Right.
Again, I'm just happy.
So again, they're concluding that what they're seeing is normal.
That's what you said. I'm good. I wasn't normal before that. You got to remember this. 3 weeks later, or a month later, you're reading results. You're saying that when I took the test, but you got to remember there's time elapsed between. You know, if you put air back in the tire, then the air in the tire is back good again. You understand what I'm telling you? Does that make sense?
But that's what they do the stress test, because they want to see how your body reacts with a lot of stress, right? Specifically how your heart reacts to that.
But I was back on the medication I needed to take also. So that goes back to what we're saying. I'm back on the medication I was taking, then I'm good again. But if you start experimenting and throwing me high doses, that's when I have an issue. I'll be okay if you just leave me where I'm at. But they keep it throwing me different medications, and that's what's hurting me. That's what's messing up with my nerve. That's what's making my kidney go crazy. That's what's making my heart off rhythm, because they're giving me, not you personally, but the nurse practitioner, I know she's learning to understand that. Everybody has to learn, but she's throwing my heart off. I mean, that's scary. If that was happening to you, you'd be madder and madder. There's nothing I could do about it, but y'all can. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting on this side of it. So the only thing I can do is tell you what happened to me in my story, and tell you every time I get that medication, it starts having that effect on me. That's all I'm saying.
But this stress test that they did it shortly after you went over to the main hospital, right?
1, 2, 3 weeks later, I think. What's the date on there? I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but it wasn't right away. It was after I left the hospital. That must have been 3 weeks later. After I was already on the regular medication that I was supposed to be on.
What about your EKG? When did they do the EKG?
They should have done that day.
When you went into the main hospital?
When I went into the main hospital, it was a different time. They did several EKGs, maybe 7 of them.
And we went over those earlier about the results.
Yes, sir.
And said everything was normal.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, so if there was some issue with your medication, it would have showed up at that point in the EKG.
That's a true statement, but I only can tell you what the medication they gave me, how it has an effect on me. I can't tell you why they did this on this date or this date. I could only tell you the effect it has on me when I start taking it long term. It might not do it from one day to another, but it will do it. That's how the medication works. It takes more than a day for it to have effect. So if I'm on the vacation for 2 or 3 weeks and I start feeling normal and then you change it on me, well, of course there's something's going to happen.
And
That's all I'm saying, sir. That's all I'm saying.
what changes were made to your medication while you were admitted over there at University Hospital?
I was at insulin, first of all, instead of metformin. That was the first thing. The medication was a lot lower lower than that I was taking. I can't tell you exactly, that's not my line of work. But I was great. I came out stronger than ever. I was happy. I was actually saying prayers for y'all guys, believe it or not. Thank you, God. I'm okay. And then all of a sudden, here I go again.
You're okay, but not this deceased woman and the baby that was killed and the boyfriend.
Same symptoms, starting all over again with different medication. With the metformin, I can tell you, I'm allergic to. It's having an effect on me.
And so since you got back to the jail, they've been, aside from the Losartan you testified earlier, they've been complying with what had been changed over at the main hospital?
As far as I know, yes, sir.
And you also mentioned the spider bite that you have on your arm. Is it common to go to medical if you receive an insect bite?
They're supposed to take you. I mean, they should take you right away, but they didn't. I filled up notes. The first one I put the medical attention, bug bite. Second one I put, again, bite, being warm around, possible infection. Second notice, please advise, I need medical attention. Third attempt, please, I need medical attention. It's like a ball. Please, I need help. Very, very warm, hot to the touch. Possibly staph infection. And she gets me, she goes, oh yeah, staph infection.
So at that point, you were seen by the medical unit for that?
7 days later, Sunday night.
Did they tell you that it was an insect bite that caused that?
Her exact words were, insect bite, turn cyst, turn staph infection.
That that's a possibility.
She didn't say possibility.
But this isn't the first time that you've dealt with these cysts with infections over there, right?
No, I had one on my leg.
Right, and that one was dealt with when you were over at University Hospital, right?
That was dealt with also at the jail and at the university.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the doctor spoke with you about how to prevent that, correct? When you were at the hospital?
Yes, sir, he did tell everybody you can't prevent a bite. You get bite, you get bit. That's just the way it is. Like a mosquito bite, just the way you can't prevent it. I can put all the off I want, you might still get bit.
Well, I know, but we're assuming that you had some sort of insect bite that caused this latest infection, right? We don't know for sure what happened or what caused that.
Well, you can pretty much see for yourself it's a bite, however you look at it. A bite's a bite. I mean, you can't deny a bite. I didn't do it to myself, and I didn't put a bug up on me, you know what I mean? It bit me, so I don't know how it bit me. And believe me, don't think I want to get bit. Nobody wants to get bit.
No, of course not. But what I'm trying to say is you're kind of assuming that that's what caused it. It could have been similar to the earlier one you had.
Judge, I'm going to check that. Also speculation.
One on my leg and one way up here.
Hold on, sir. I haven't ruled on the objection.
Sorry.
Last time I forgot about the first hearing he had. I forgot he got some other, I don't know what it was, some type of infection. What? It was something kind of ridiculous. The spider bite, I could see maybe getting infected. The first time I forgot what it was he said. I was like, what the hell? I'm gonna see if I can find it. We'll keep playing it.
Uh,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to stay.
and Mr. Preciado, tell us about the one you had on your leg.
I had one on my leg. I don't know, one day it was there. You know what I mean? I didn't feel no bite on that one.
Oh, it was another insect bite? So now we're on bite number 2. I mean, you can see something's going on with his hand there, but
One day I had something on my leg. And I reported it. They said, don't worry about it. I'll be all right. I'll go away. Didn't go away. Got bigger and bigger.
And that's something that eventually you depressed, or was it?
No,
It was
it got
drained.
huge. It burst by itself. I was taking a shower one day and it burst by itself. Now, I said I wanted, to get it wrapped up because it could be staph infection. It turned into something. And the exact words were, "You'll be okay. Make a sick note."
And when you talked to the doctor about it, what did he tell you in terms of how to prevent this?
I talked to the doctor. I talked to an RN, and she gave me antibiotics.
They didn't talk to you about hygiene and how to prevent that?
Are you talking at the University Hospital?
Yes.
Yes, sir. He said scrub myself, and I scrub myself very good. One of the cleanest people you want to meet. Really that, especially where I'm at, I don't want to get bit by nothing. I don't think anybody wants to get bit. And to have things, it feels like, you know what it feels like? It feels like somebody lit a cigarette and it's in there burning. Now, who wants to feel that? Believe me, there ain't nothing being done on purpose. There ain't nobody gonna put nothing on the side of their leg to get a bite, you know what I mean? It's there, it got there, like a bit. And you go into anybody's cell, mine's one of the cleanest ones you ever gonna meet. But if you, for a second, turn off the light, you see the bugs come out everywhere. You know how it is. I'm sure you've got a lot of complaints. The bugs just come out of there, you see them coming out. And that's not saying nothing new, that's not saying anything bad. Everybody knows what it is.
Okay. You testified that in terms of your financial situation that it has become more dire since our last bond hearing a few months ago. Is that correct?
Sir, I've been sitting in the jail, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of any efforts that have been made to liquidate your home?
Still sitting there. That's all I can tell you.
Well, I'm asking if you're aware of any efforts that have been made to sell it.
They've been trying to sell it, but again, y'all got bullseyes on me. I can't, nothing will move, they won't touch it. It's one of those deals.
Yeah, they've been trying to sell that house, the house that I used to live in. Him, the stepmom, and the alleged killer. Just as a little reminder to some of the allegations, I'll stop for a minute just to go through this. So you have, damn, I always mix these name ups. You have Christopher Preciado, a 19-year-old that's charged with capital murder. This is the allegedly killing Soto, the baby, Fabian, and Matthew Guerrero. 3 people, the baby included. So you have Christopher, that's the son of Ramon Preciado. Ramon Preciado is on the screen right now. And then there's the stepmom, Mirta Ramonos. And I'm just going to skip to this part of it, probable cause affidavit. But Ramon Preciado, they spoke to Ramon Preciado, and he read his Miranda rights, and he admitted to driving the Chevy Silverado. Again, I think I showed it at the beginning of this, but let me show you real quick. Savanah Soto police camera, real quick. The vehicle here where they meet up, the dad's driving the pickup truck, okay, and I don't know if it was the son. And by the way, I think the stepmom was there too. We'll read the affidavit. And somebody was in the vehicle. This vehicle here, the sedan, that belonged to the boyfriend and the girlfriend. And they were killed inside this vehicle. So they're seen on video meeting up. All right. So dad admits to driving his Chevy Silverado to this address where he met with Christopher, the son, Ramon Preciado, identified himself on surveillance video as the person observed exiting the Chevy Silverado. Ramon Preciado reported meeting Christopher at this apartment complex, who was driving another vehicle. This vehicle is the vehicle in which Matthew Guerrero and Savanah Soto were found deceased. Ramon Preciado admitted to assisting his son at this address. So, according to the affidavit, we'll have to see. They're saying he admitted it. Now, they spoke with Christopher Preciado after Christopher Preciado was read his Miranda rights, and Christopher reported that Matthew and Savanah drove to his house, which is the parents' house, on Charlie Chan Drive, to sell Christopher Preciado marijuana. So, Matthew and Savanah allegedly were selling drugs to Christopher. Okay, weed. It blows my mind. Like, this could happen over weed. Supposedly, I don't know. So Christopher went on to provide his version of events that were inconsistent with the evidence collected at the scene from the victim's recovered vehicle. Christopher claimed that the male pointed the gun. Okay, I guess the boyfriend points the gun. Let's see, pointed the weapon at him, and Christopher was able to manipulate some Matrix shit the weapon, resulting in the female being shot. So he's saying Matthew pointed the gun at him. Christopher does some Matrix shit where he like takes the gun and manipulates it, and then the pregnant girl gets shot. And then after that, Christopher then stated that he had the weapon pointed at him again. Somehow the weapon's pointed at him again. Maybe they're tussling, he claims, with the gun. That's his version. And that he manipulated the weapon again. And shot Matthew. On January 24, 2024, Affian spoke to Myrta, that's the stepmom. And Myrta stated that on the night of the incident, she was at her residence at Charlie Chan Drive with Ramon and Christopher. Myrta could not recall the events of the night and stated she thought she was sleeping. Myrta denied knowing about the incident and denied being in Ramon Preciado's vehicle at the drop-off. At the meetup spot. And I think she was in that vehicle because remember back then when people were like zooming in and looking into it, you could tell like there was somebody else. It seemed like it. I think of the pickup truck. Anyway, they look further into this and they investigate, and they recovered video from the defendant's residence. In the video surveillance, Myrta could be seen leaving her house with Ramon, the father, on the night of the incident. Ramon and Myrta enter Ramon's vehicle and they depart from the residence. Several minutes later, you see his vehicle, Ramon's vehicle, enter the driveway of the residence. Christopher, Ramon, and Myrta could all be observed exiting the vehicle and entering their residence. The times observed corroborated the time and events already known and showed that Myrta was with Ramon when he relocated to the video that's there on the side. So, and I forgot the events. I guess that was it. So just keep in mind all this stuff that's happened, and now here we are, fast forward to today with this.
Some guy says he's gonna shoot me in the face if they go near the house. Well, who's gonna go near the house?
What efforts have been made to sell the house?
I don't know. It's just kind of dealing with that.
Is it listed on the market?
I think she has, yes, sir.
And do you know what that house is worth?
Yes, just handed the towel to wipe clean. Okay, yes.
Approximately?
I saw that towel.
There's all kinds of numbers been thrown out there.
What kind of numbers?
I think she wanted like maybe 354. But here's the thing, you're doing your math and you think we're gonna get all this. You can forget we owe for the house. So don't forget about that.
Well, that was my next question. I'm not going to forget.
I know, but we owe for the house.
Yeah, it's just something we have to establish for the record.
Just gotta stop. This lady was like annoyed here because I guess she's the one doing the transcript. Put the hand up and shit.
So don't forget about that.
Well, that was my next question. I'm not going to forget.
I know, but we owe for the house.
Yeah, it's just something we have to establish for the record. And how much is owed on the house?
200, 150, 180.
So potentially you have $200,000 worth of equity in the home if it were to sell.
You figure taxes, you figure she has to split with the family, you're figuring a lot of things. You make it seem like, oh, you're going to just keep 200 in your pocket. That's not going to work like that. Everybody says, oh, you're going to keep it. No, you're not. She still has to split that with somebody. She still has to pay taxes on there. There's a lot involved. The realtor people, whoever they are, they're probably going to take a percentage too. Then there's a closing cost, and there's a lot involved with that. So to say, oh yeah, you're going to keep it, I love the way you're doing the math, but that's not real life. Real life doesn't work like that. Real life, you'll be lucky if you get a percentage of that. And then her family's going to want their side of it. Then that's what we have left. If you do your math like that, you're going to find out what's left, and you're going to look at the bottom number, and you're going to see that's real life. Because that's what real life, like people with us, deal with it every day. We don't have $500,000 homes. We don't have $2 million homes that we could sell and have that. We don't have that. And good, God bless the people that have it, but we don't have that right now.
And I'm just talking about your home, no one else's.
asking
I know,
you.
just letting you know.
Pass the picture.
Passing it back. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, I guess they're trying to sell the house. Nobody wants to buy the house. I mean, I'm sure if they lower the price enough, there's somebody out there gonna want to buy a house, but nobody wants to touch it right now.
Real quickly, let's kind of follow up and remind the judge what was testified to at the last hearing, which is your home is owned by your wife and several of her family members, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you guys own a 1/4 share in it, is that correct?
My wife does, but yes. Yes, that's correct. Yes, sir.
Your wife owns a 1/4 share in that house. So back to Mr. Stout's questioning in terms of if the house sells, even if there was a $200,000 profit, the share that would go to your wife would only be a quarter of that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So they're trying to lower the bond for everybody, so everybody can get out if they sell that shit.
One of the other problems that your family has had on the outside with regard to that house is kind of the negative attention that it's been getting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Case 5 rented all day.
is-
Second house. That's their
Ramon,
that's their
Ramon.
story.
come on.
It's one person speaking.
I need to just, I'm going to ask you very simple questions. I don't need explanations right now, okay? One of the issues has been, there's a neighbor across the street who has it on 24-hour loop video showing the front of your house. Is that correct?
That's right.
Oh shit! Yo, you guys think they're talking about Carlos? I gotta timestamp this. Not Carlito. No, man. Y'all ain't gonna do Carlos like that. No. His name was Carlos, right? The guy that's like across the street. Remember, he was like live streaming all the time, TikToking, whatever. Carlito. No. Oh, I'm glad I watched this. Oh, poor Carlos. They're using Carlos now. But I don't think Carlos streams the house, and does he? I haven't looked at his Instagram in so long. Or it's TikTok he's on. Theo Carlos. Is he still streaming out there? 24/7 feed? Even back then it wasn't 24 hours, right? He'd go on for like an hour or two, I think. On a loop, yo. He says on a loop. Okay, we gotta take that back.
I need explanations right now, okay? Come on.
Oh my god.
It's one person speaking.
I need to just, I'm going to ask you very simple questions. I don't need explanations right now, okay? One of the issues has been, there's a neighbor across the street who has it on 24-hour loop video showing the front of your house. Is that correct?
That's right.
And people are making comments about it all over online. Is that correct?
That's correct.
People are making threats to you and your family. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And apparently, it's so out there in the world that anyone that's looking at that house immediately is informed of the significance of your house. And so that's driving the value down, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Down to try to do nothing.
Now, the other thing I want to talk about, just briefly, is when...
I almost wonder if they're talking about, is there somebody else? Or I mean, in my mind, Carlos is the only person I could think of when I think of neighbor and streaming. But like, maybe, is there somebody else out there that's doing that? Because Carlos, he was kind of like really respectable too, in a way. Like he would sometimes like shift the camera to the side or like, I don't know. I don't know. I can see Carlos doing a 24-hour stream loop. Like, just what?
When you were taken from the jail to the University Hospital for evaluation and treatment on May 1st, the main reason you went there was because of the low potassium, right?
Yes, sir.
And the side effects.
That's correct.
And when you got to University Hospital, they confirmed that you had dangerously low potassium, right?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, in their own notes from May 1st, they mentioned that you had been in your usual state of health until about 3 weeks ago. At that time, you developed flu-like symptoms, which subsided after initiation of Mucinex and Tylenol. Then you had a follow-up with the jail provider last week, which would have been the last week of April, and you were noted to have hypokalemia. They gave you oral replenishment, but it failed, and multiple repeat labs showed you to be hypokalemic, right?
Yes, sir.
That's when they took you to the hospital.
That's correct.
And it's not like you walked into the hospital, they gave you some shots, and you walked right back out, right?
No, they were scared to say that.
You were there.
After we walked in, yes, sir.
You were there for, I think, 5 days, and they ran a ton of tests on you, right?
That's correct.
Ramon, in general terms, has your health gotten...
So Bria on Facebook told me that she told me, okay, she says someone sent cameras because of the activity of people driving by because his cameras before didn't cover that part of the street. So I kind of asked to clarify. So I said, so Carlos has new cameras. She said, yes, he said it on one of his lives. It was more because weird people were showing up at his house and he has a teen daughter. So I think, and what I'm interpreting is that maybe he has some type of security camera, which I don't blame him. I'm trying to upgrade my stuff too. So and maybe instead of something that's like motion sensor, kind of in and out sometimes, you know, not the greatest, maybe something more static. Maybe that's what this guy's referring to. I don't know, but I don't think he's streaming it, right? I don't know.
Gotten better or worse since you've been in custody?
A lot worse.
And whether the cyst on your leg was due to something you could have controlled or not, you still had it, right?
Yes, sir.
And now you have the staph infection on your arm.
That's correct.
You're asking the judge to lower the bond so that you can get out, so that you can try to not have your health continue to deteriorate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Ramon, and just to remind the judge, you're from San Antonio, right?
Yes, sir.
All your family's here.
That's correct.
You don't have any intention of going anywhere or fleeing or anything like that?
The family's in Burke County. I got nowhere to go.
And if the judge was to lower your bond and you were able to get out, you will comply with any and all terms that he would consider. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you.
State? No question from the state.
Like a whole damn trial for the bond.
And that's it as far as witnesses from us, Judge.
This is from yesterday, guys. I believe this was
We rest
yesterday.
at this time?
Yes, Judge.
State?
I do have some good stuff for the record. Give me 1 second.
Oh, Boone. BK Boone, thank you so much. You sent me a PayPal the other day. I had to acknowledge it on the stream. I see you on Facebook now. Thank you so much. Wow. Mamma mia. I mean, I'm sure the medical care is probably, I'm assuming, I don't know, not the best in jail. It's connected to some sort of university, I guess, or close by university. I guess the staff switch out, maybe take shifts or like take turns.
Your Honor, the outstate is offering state exhibits 1 through 5. Opportunity to defense counsel.
The weight loss might help him. In the end, I mean, as long as he doesn't die, but it might actually help some of his ailments that he has. He does seem like he lost weight. This was a pretty dirty alleged murder. You know, killed. I mean, a pregnant woman.
Okay.
States
maybe not.
exhibits 1 through 5 are admitted for the purposes of this hearing.
And can we approach real quickly? Yes, sir.
Can we go off the record? Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna go off
The other thing too, while police questioned Romanos on January 4th, the day after Christopher and Ramon Preciado's arrest, she did not recall the events of the night. We know that. And stated she slept through the night, which was a lie, according to the video evidence. When police searched their home, Romanos' bedroom door was locked. She told police that she was the only person with a key. Police said they found the gun that they believe was used to shoot Soto and Guerrera hidden in Romanos' room. She told officers that the gun was hers and was given to her by a family member.
Yeah, it's good.
All rise.
Hold board. There he is. Got a fresh cut. He's looking in better shape.
Sit down.
You may be seated.
The judge is back.
To review these records.
Yeah, the mom's done yet.
United States Exhibits 1 through 5. State any other evidence you'd like to present?
Very hard to speak less.
And I will entertain argument at this time.
Argument. Okay. Oh, still got more? Thought it was gonna
Just briefly, Judge, I will direct you to Section 8 of each of the motions that I filed, in which I list what the typical bond amounts are for these levels of felonies. With regard to 2024 CR 4075B, this is a state jail level offense. As this court is well aware, these bonds are typically in the $2,500 to $10,000 range. As of right now, it is $100,000, which, as I pointed out, is between 10 and 40 times the amount of a normal bond, which is oppressive. It is excessive as well. With regard to 2024 CR 4074B, the bonds for this level offense are typically in the $10,000 to $50,000 range. And as I point out also, as it currently sits at $350,000, that is between 7 and 35 times as high as a normal bond would be on a case. And Judge, I hate to say it, but I think we all know why the bonds are this high, and it's because of those cameras right there.
Oh no! Yeah! Bro! I feel like it was pointing at me for a second. I got taken back. I was like, oh, what? Another timestamp. Wow, this was a interesting hearing. Whoa. What the?
Because of the media, why the bonds are this high, it's because of those cameras right there. And because of the media attention that this case has gotten. If this case had not gotten this level of media attention, I think that the bonds would be at appropriate amounts. But unfortunately, because of a variety of reasons, there has been an amazing, incredible amount of media attention on this case. And it's been to his detriment. As you know, I'm court appointed on this case. I'm not retained to represent him. He does not have the money to afford a lawyer. He certainly doesn't have the money to afford the bonds at the levels that they're at right now.
It was like pointing at all of us, right?
Based upon what you've heard today and also at the hearing a few months ago.
I was
We would
expecting that.
request that you do lower these bonds, and we would request that they be lowered to something more appropriate for the level of these offenses. I've requested $25,000 on 7-4B and $10,000 on the other one. If the court is not inclined to go that low, my client would also appreciate any sort of reduction, but clearly the amounts in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for what are, one of them is a very low level offense, and the other is a mid-level offense. It seems excessive and oppressive because it's intended to keep him in jail and not allow him to be released ever.
I think part of it, I know he's saying cameras, a baby was killed. Like the mother was pregnant and there was a baby inside of the woman's body. However you feel about, babies in the fetus over there, the law is that counts. Like, that's you kill that person too. You can be charged for that.
And as you've heard today, Judge, given the health problems that he has, and you can just take a look at it.
She was literally about to give birth. She was to the point of birth. Like she was killed But the article say the day or the day after she was supposed to give induced birth.
He's lost a bunch of weight. He doesn't look well compared to the last setting that we had. And my fear, of course, is that he's going to continue to deteriorate.
3 deaths, yeah.
And have further health problems in the jail that go untreated or delinquently treated. And so, based on all that you've heard today, please, Judge, we ask that you lower these bonds.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I would like to ask the court to take notice of the prior hearing evidence that was admitted in that hearing, also the court's record. And I think it is unusual to be coming back for another bite of the apple when the court's heard a lot of this evidence a few months ago. And so I think I'd like to focus on what has changed in the last few months. And our defense, for Mr. Preciado, to talk about his health situation that had changed in the last few months. What's really changed in the last few months is that this case was indicted and his legal situation has become much more dire. When he was arrested, he was facing a state jail charge of abuse of the corpse, as well as a what was charged as a second-degree tampering case. And since he's been indicted, he has been indicted with 5 different counts under that tampering statute, and 3 different counts under the abuse of corpse statute. In addition, he's been indicted as a repeat offender because he's went to prison in the past, federal prison, and so the maximum that he's looking at in this case, on that tampering case, is from 5 to 99 years or life, and that did not exist in certainty when we had our last hearing. That's how he was indicted at this point. So now he's looking at from 5 to 99 years or life on that case. And I know that's an important factor that the case law instructs the court to consider in these situations. Specifically, the ex parte Rubach case, which is 611 Southwest 2nd, 848, is the seminal case from the Court of Criminal Appeals regarding these factors that are looked at in bond reduction hearings. And one of the main things that are looked at, one of the primary factors, is the length of the possible sentence that he's looking at. And in this case, it's one of the highest that someone could serve, which is life in prison, potentially. In addition, the case makes it very clear that the defendant's ability to make bail is not controlling, but is only a factor that the court considers in making their determination. And also that any aggravating circumstances would be looked at. And the reason there's a lot of media attention is because there's aggravating circumstances in this case. Some of the most aggravating that many of us have seen. It's a triple capital murder. That's how it's indicted that he was involved in. And so there's no surprise why it gets attention, but I think that that should weigh, that seriousness of that offense that he helped conceal and cover up should be instructed to the court as to what sort of bond is appropriate in his situation. And again, as I mentioned earlier, his criminal history is to be considered, and he has gone to federal prison in the past for a firearm-related offense. I think that's something that the court needs to consider. But in terms of the health stuff that we talked about today, I don't know if I saw anything that was alarming to me. That there are times where people with conditions, have low potassium. It sounds like the jail was diligent in testing him and addressing an issue and realizing and recognizing when they needed to escalate it to the main university hospital. That's what they did for him, and they ran a bunch of tests on him. But at the end of the day, they found out that his tests were normal, and they addressed the low potassium, and they gave him supplemental potassium while he was there, and fixed that problem that he was experiencing. That's something someone could experience on the outside. It's not something that's specific to his incarceration at the jail. So I think that from his own testimony, University Hospital, who runs the medical unit at the jail, has been diligent in addressing these issues and resolving them. Yeah, they're not going to take him to the medical every time he asks. They're not going to take him every time he gets a spider bite or whatever, but if it gets worse, they treat him. That's what they did, it sounds like, in this situation for that. So I just don't think that weighs on any change that should happen to his bond. We already had this long hearing a few months ago. All this evidence came out, as the court remembers, and the court studied that evidence and made a decision. I'm just not sure what has changed at this point that would justify and warrant us drastically reducing the bond as the defense is asking. The defense said these bonds are not typical. I would remind the court that the burden is completely on the defense in these types of hearings to establish the record in that regard, and although it is mentioned in his motion, that is not evidence that the court can consider. I would take issue with the allegation as well, that this is 30 times what the normal bond amount or whatever he said was. I don't think that's correct, and that's not evidence before the court. That's an argument from defense counsel, which the case law is very clear in a bond hearing is not evidence to be considered by the court. So we'd ask that these bonds not be cut further. $150,000 was already shaved off these bonds a few months ago, only back in February. So I'm not sure what has changed that would justify drastically reducing them further. The state asks that both these motions be denied.
Cause numbers 2024 CR 4074B and 2024 CR 4075B. I will be denying defense motions. I will also be sealing states exhibits 1 and 2. State, did you want to withdraw states exhibits 3 through 5, or do you just want to keep them as part of the record?
I'll keep them as part of the record, Your Honor.
They will be so. Anything else from either side?
That's it.
Nothing to say.
And this matter's clear.
Damn. Denied. I knew it was denied. Somebody mentioned it yesterday or saw it somewhere, but I'm glad I sat down and watched this. Holy moly. From Uncle Carlos to the spider bite to medical stuff to the lawyer pointing at us. He said, you know, like the reason that the bond's so high is because of us. I'm like, oh, the cameras. What a mess. This is his second bond hearing denied. I guess it's maybe because of his medical conditions they're trying to get him coming back, I guess. Lord almighty. It's interesting, man, what parents will do for their kids. I don't know. It makes me think of that show again, the Your Honor. That was a good Netflix show. It's years old on Showtime, but they released it on Netflix, and it's 2 seasons. And I thought it was interesting. It starts getting like a little ridiculous towards the end. Like it's like they're spinning it so crazy. But it's basically like this judge, his son gets involved in a hit and run, and he freaks out and kind of like starts covering for the son, and they don't go to the police, and the person that he hit, it's a child, and they. Not a child, but like a teenager. You know, they were driving a motorcycle, and they bleed out in the middle of the street. So I won't go any further to spoil it. What I described was in the description, but so I won't spoil it. But it's a pretty good show. And so now I'm seeing all these different real life stories. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they freaked out. Like what? Who does that? Like, who's like, all right, I'm gonna help you allegedly hide and move the body, and bro. I don't know. But maybe it's just because I've never been in that. Maybe there's people out there that would cover. I don't know. Cover for the kid. These kids are wild these days. These kids take down the whole family, destroy the whole generation of family and stuff, acting out. Wild. All right, man. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We'll keep updating this when the things pop up for this story. I don't think like the story back then had a lot of attention. I don't think it has that same attention, you know, but who knows? Maybe there is people out there in the local community still driving by the house, you know, I don't know. But like the internet for the most part has kind of moved on. And I'm not trying to say like that's just how the internet works. We're still here kind of coming back and checking because I'm curious and I want to update it when possible. But like that crazy thing that was going on back then, like crazy shit, you know, that part of it. They even one of the vehicles outside of the house, somebody wrote "baby killer." I think most people have seen it, but let me see if I can find it. Somebody got to the house out there. Nah, I don't see it. Let me try Facebook. It's in one of my thumbnails too. Facebook. Tomorrow's no trial, by the way, guys. So I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do some stuff around the house. I really need to do maintenance stuff on the computer, like for the channel, like some thumbnails for the second page. There's some other, I forgot. There's other stuff I've been meaning to do for a while, but I'll jump on for whatever. For now, I don't have notifications on this page, and if you could subscribe to Ikid CC on YouTube, I'd appreciate it. Chief McMahon is speaking out. I'm almost at 22,000. Chief McManus. Let's see what this is real quick. We're live at the scene of a fatal shooting at the corner of Delgado Street in Hamilton.
Prompted that, but at any rate, the mother was shot by a juvenile, and that's where we are right now. He's in custody. We have the weapon. Pardon? No, we have one suspect.
Wasn't there some kid the other day? Somebody had sent me something. Kid kills parents. Wasn't there something the other day? A kid killed his parents. Monster. Florida teen kills parents and wounds deputy in shootout. Some of these kids, I don't know what it's like to have a teenage kid, but I've seen some of these stories. I think you should start locking the door when you got some of these teenagers and shit. But I mean, like a deadbolt lock, and keep a gun in your room and some type of security device, because you don't know. I mean, even if you're involved in your kid's life, you don't know what's going on, and you don't let them play a video game or go out to party or go to a movie. They want to kill you. Let's see what this is here. Give me a second. I don't have the ad thing on here. I'm serious. I'm very serious about it. I mean, I don't know.
Time walks up behind the mom and shoots his own mother in the back of the head as we start conducting this latent part of the investigation.
Well, the thing with this is he probably used his parents' gun though, right?
See if we can determine. I don't understand. Was it mental health related? I don't know. It certainly doesn't warrant or justify taking another human being's life. We don't know exactly, and we may not ever know why he became as violent as he did. But we do know that inflicting injury or harm on another human being, it never matters what the reason is. It's never okay. It's never okay to inflict violence or harm on another.
It's crazy. It's just insane, dude. I don't even know anymore. Jacqueline says, I feel like some parents are just checked out and kids get effing wild. It's not just the kids that are crazy, IMO. That's true. Mustard Mama, I made you the emoji today. I don't think you saw it, though. I tried to tag you, but it was way after. I think you might have stepped out on the main channel. So, so for today, I think right now I have no notifications on CC. Let me just double check, but I think on the main channel I have one now. A lot of crazy shit going on, man. It's a wild world. After I get off of here, I'm going to call my mother and tell her about the Secret Service getting robbed. But the guy was off duty. He was off duty, and he fired back at the suspects. Okay, no notifications on CC for hours. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 6 hours. So we're not coming back on here tonight. Probably not any time. Well, it's still early. Still early. Later tonight we can. On Ikid Mel, we have 2 notifications. So, okay, if anything pops off tonight or now and tonight or late, I'll be on Ikid Mel, ICKDML. And Facebook, I'm the same page all the time. Oh, Wanny says, look deeper. Neighbors speak on him. Kid in Tampa. Maybe we could do a live on that. Thank you, your mom, for being strict. I do. I appreciate it. My mother never used to let me really sleep over at anybody's house. Maybe once or twice my entire life, yo. I think maybe twice. And like I say this all the time, and it sounds like a joke, but I'm dead ass. The house was literally across the street from us. So you could open the window and you see the house right there. That's it. And with all the crazy stuff that I see nowadays, it's like, all right, I understand. At the time when I was a kid, I was like upset and pissed and like, why and blah blah. Now I'm grown up and I've seen all this insanity. I was like, Ma, thank you. I appreciate that shit. Kid kills parents, Tampa. Let me see, neighbor. Let me try typing neighbor. Judge sees weapons before Hillsborough teen. What the hell? Is this the same person? Judge sees weapons before Hillsborough teen killed his parents. Court records. A judge ordered 19-year-old Christos Themelius to surrender his guns. So he had guns, his own guns, I guess. Court records show the ruling came after Themelius threatened someone and was brought in for mental evaluation.
Tonight after being deadly injured, or rather being injured in a deadly shootout in Carrollwood this past weekend. Police say 19-year-old Christos Themelius killed both his parents, then fired at the deputies. Deputy Shane Magoo was shot in the leg during the exchange of gunfire with this young man. News Channel 8's Georgia MacArthur is joining us live from the Carrollwood neighborhood with it happened. So what more do we know about this suspect?
Keith, investigators are still trying to determine the circumstances around this deadly shootout. I did take a look at the 19-year-old's past, and a judge ordered for the guns from the suspect to be seized from him after he was determined a threat to either himself or others. Hi, I'm Liliana. This picture does not reflect the darkness this family went through.
Wow. Okay, so this is the family picture. I guess mom, dad, and son. All right, so let's see. Let me take it back.
This picture does not reflect the darkness this family went through Father's Day weekend. Last February, a judge ordered 19-year-old Christos Themelius to surrender his guns. Court records show the ruling came after Themelius threatened someone and was brought in for mental evaluation.
Get out of the house with your hands up!
But despite the judge's order, deputies say Themelius got a hold of a gun again this past Saturday. Investigators believe he shot and killed his father, Christos Themelius Sr.
I wonder where he got the gun from. I say it's not hard to get a gun like illegally. I don't know where he would get it. I mean, I don't know, the black market, or I forgot what they say sometimes at those shows or the gun shows, or I forgot what it was. I don't think they really do checks or something.
That's when the teen's mother, Rebecca Themelius, called 911 for help. Deputies arrived to find the teenager and his mother on the front lawn.
Listen, we don't want to hurt you, okay? Just let your mom walk to us.
Deputies say the suspect refused to put down his weapon, shot his mother, then fired at deputies. Themelius was shot and wounded but managed to crawl back inside the home. A sheriff's office robot later found the teen and his father inside the home, both dead from their wounds.
How did this mentally ill subject have access to any type of firearms when we took his firearms? They're in our custody.
Neighbors say they were not surprised to hear about the incident after witnessing Themelius' past.
This home was protected by the good Lord and a gun. If you came here to steal or do harm, you might meet them both.
Behavior.
He always carried a baton, always carried the mace.
He carried a baton or something?
Neighbors say they were not surprised to hear about the incident after witnessing Themelius' past behavior.
He always carried a baton, always carried the mace and knives.
How did he have access to any type of firearms to be able to inflict this type of violence here this evening?
And Sheriff Chronister says the suspect had a history of threatening violence, and they actually frequent this home a lot in the last few years.
Take care. Appreciate it.
Well, Georgia, the sheriff mentioned that they seized weapons from the suspect, but he seemed about as stumped as everybody else about how that suspect would have gotten a hold of a gun in the first place.
I'm not sure why people are stumped. There's so many guns everywhere, like whether you are allowed to carry it or not, whether they have a mental health, people getting this shit anywhere, everywhere. All right. Well, yeah, I can imagine having like your kid's kind of, so he's a teenager, or what was it, 19 years old. What do you do when you got a crazy teen like that? I guess you kick him out. I don't know what you do. Or is that, I don't know, abandoning your child and not being there for them. But at the same time, I don't want your ass to kill me. I wonder what else went on in that household. Tampa shooting leaves 3 dead, 1 deputy injured. Wow, dude. Five hours ago. Everything's Florida. Black bear found, shot, and killed in Florida neighborhood. Maybe they were defending themselves. They're going to try to look for the person, I guess. This is 5 hours ago. I wanted to play this last video, and then we'll head out. Deetra said, now I can see why some people lock their kids in the house. Oh, man.
Very shocking in a sense.
Bill Luckfeld says he was taking his dogs out around 9 o'clock on a Thursday night when he saw something he wasn't expecting to see.
Big black lump, great big lump.
Wow.
And I kind of noticed that, that's got to be a bear because it was huge.
Luckfeld and his wife called law enforcement and say FWC came out to investigate and remove the nearly 500-pound bear, which was dead. He says originally he thought because of the rain it may have been hit by a car, but he later learned from investigators the bear had a bullet hole in its lung. His neighborhood is close to Wekiva Springs State Park, so they see a lot of wildlife. Luckfeld says what happened is heartbreaking.
These animals, in my opinion, are majestic. They're a powerful animal. They're a docile in a sense as long as you leave them alone.
Majestic until they slash and tear your ass up. I know they say they probably usually won't mess with you, I guess, but I've seen so many videos. Oh my gosh, bro, people getting mauled.
This is their habitat. We don't want these animals harmed. We don't want to see them dead. We love seeing them as they roam around the neighborhoods and stuff.
The incident comes just as a bill that would allow people to shoot a bear in self-defense awaits the governor's signature. Earlier this year, the bill's sponsor explained its intent.
This will allow Floridians the right to protect their dwelling, their pets, and themselves and their family in the case of a black bear attack.
So what, you can't kill a bear in self-defense, but you can kill a person in self-defense?
To shoot a bear in self-defense awaits the governor's signature. The incident
roam around these animals harmed. We don't want to see them dead. We love seeing them as they roam around the neighborhoods and stuff.
The incident comes just as a bill that would allow people to shoot a bear in self-defense awaits the governor's signature.
That person ran.
Earlier this year, the bill's sponsor explained its intent.
This will allow Floridians the right to protect their dwelling, their pets, and themselves and their family in the case of a black bear attack.
But the bill is something Luckfeld says he doesn't agree with.
You don't need to get rid of the bears. Get it to where, you can live with them just like they got to live with you. Because there's nothing wrong with a bear. The bears they're here, they're going to stay here until we keep pushing them out. And hopefully we don't.
In Apopka, Paola Trisnaruda, WESH 2 News.
I do want to go to Wekiva Springs. It's beautiful out there. Wekiva Springs. I do want to go take a little road trip there. Beautiful. I think they have a lot of stuff out there to do. I mean, I don't want to encounter one of those bears, though. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks again. Love you. Bye. Adios. See you later. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Can't shoot gators either. What?